approach the altar of Yahweh, it is required that we be set apart, not only while we are standing at the altar, but also after we leave. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 4, the Torah portion, Emor. Let's go into Leviticus or Vayikra, chapter number 22, beginning with verse 1. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to Aaron and his sons, that they separate themselves in the set-apart offerings of the children of Israel, and that they do not profane my set-apart name, in which they set apart to me. I am Yahweh. Say to them, Any man of all your offspring throughout your generations who draws near the set-apart offerings, which the children of Israel set apart to Yahweh, while he has uncleanness upon him, that being shall be cut off from before me. Again, he says, I am Yahweh. Any man of the offspring of Aaron who is a leper or has a discharge does not eat of the set-apart offerings until he is clean, and whoever touches what is rendered unclean by a being or a man who has had an emission of semen, or a man who touches any swarming creature by which he would be made unclean, or any being by whom he would be made unclean, even any of his uncleanness, that being who has touched it shall be unclean until evening, and does not eat of the set-apart offerings, but shall bathe his body in water. And when the sun goes down, he shall be clean, and afterward eat of the set-apart offerings, because it is his food. Now, that's a very wordy way of saying that we have to respect the offerings that have been placed on the altar even after they have been taken away from it. The protocol of the Levites is this, that when an offering is made, there are specific ones that the priest is to eat of it. And from that, he takes a portion and he takes it home to his family, where they put it on the table, and anyone who is ritually or ceremonially clean may partake of it. What this says to us then, if one has an oozing sore, a bodily discharge, a woman who is on her cycle, they do not eat of that particular offering. Because to do so, it renders that portion that is in the priest's home unclean and rejected. But then it backtracks, I think, to the altar and the offering there, and then that offering that was presented is also rejected. What we're saying is that when we say that something is set apart, it must remain set apart. It cannot be returned to common usage. So all of those times that you went down to an altar of prayer in the past and you say, Father, I give my life to you. It is my offering to you. We are not allowed then to take that life back and use it in a very carnal or casual or common fashion. We probably did not recognize the severity and significance of what we were saying to him, and I think Yah understood our limited knowledge. Now that we know, if you're not willing to give your life to him completely and be completely set apart to him, then that's a vow you should probably refrain from making. This also applies to our observance of Shabbat. It's not as though we can just observe Shabbat as a set-apart day, and then after the sun goes down at the end of Shabbat and we enter into the first day of the week, we take a deep breath and say, well, now I can live like I want to, and enter into a very casual, nondescript, fleshly-oriented, maybe even carnal-minded lifestyle. And then when we see Friday evening approaching, we rush to bathe ourselves, dress differently, prepare our foods, and say, Shabbat's coming, let's clean up. If you set yourself apart for Shabbat, it is to prepare you for the week that is to come, and it is a week that should be lived as a set-apart week, a week in which we honor and glorify our Creator as much as we do on Shabbat. So again, it's not as though there's a rapid change. I have instruments. I have one here, it's almost in my hand. I poured oil on them and dedicated them to the use of music for Yah. I have been very cognizant and aware of that fact, and so I don't use them for carnal music or for even worldly music. I remember I had an occasion where a man invited me to play with his old-time rock and roll band. Probably wouldn't have been anything more than 3 chords and a minor strumming along in the background. Very soft rock style stuff of the 60s, maybe, or 50s. And I had to say no, not because there was necessarily a problem with the music, but I didn't have a guitar that wasn't already set apart. I would have had to buy another instrument and not put oil on it and not separate it. I was aware I don't have anything to play. So I told him, I'm not interested. I really can't take that opportunity. So again, we're talking about that which is at the altar has to remain set apart. This goes even further for us when we realize that Yah wants us to remain a set apart people. We come to the altar, we worship Him, we dedicate our lives to Him, we dedicate our beings to Him, we dedicate our hearts to Him. What it means after we leave the altar is then that we need to treat others the way we would as we stood at the altar together. It's kind of like the child that says to their sibling, you just wait till mom and dad leave, and I'm going to fix you. Maybe you don't remember those days. I do. So the idea is then that when we walk away from the altar, that we maintain the righteous relationships that we had at the altar away from the altar. That which is set apart, again, it cannot be returned to common usage. To do so violates the sanctity of that which we have decreed set apart to Him. We talk about those who sit at our table. When you sit at a table with someone, say for Pesach or Shabbat, a feast day meal, this is covenant territory. I'm very careful about who is included at my home to sit with me at my table for Shabbat. And Laura and I love to have people to come over and share Shabbat with us. But again, it's not a common meal. This is a set apart meal. This is a meal that is dedicated to honor the beginning of the seventh day. And we enter into this very special place with Him. Therefore, those who sit with me at my table enter with me into that place. They may not fully understand what's going on. There have been those who sat, and this was their first opportunity for Shabbat. But again, it is a covenant meal, so I don't take it lightly, and neither should you. As we partake of that meal, we also should be aware that we're partaking it with our King. Yeshua sits with us at our table in His presence, by His power, through His Spirit. We'd set apart ourselves to Him, not only for that day, but also now for the week that follows after. In short, our living is not that of a common people. You're not average. You're not ordinary. Don't be disturbed, but you're not normal. It's not that you're abnormal. You're beyond normal. You're beyond average. You're more than common. You are a set apart people. You belong to the King of all the universe. Live your lives in such a way that everyone who sees you and is aware of you understands that's a special person. And there's something unique and very special about them. Let them try to figure out what that is. We'll talk more tomorrow. Till then, shalom.